What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's having a wonderful day, doing well, thriving, surviving, hanging in there, taking it one day at a time, whatever you got to do to get through this life, through this day, through this week, through this month. Hope everybody's doing what they need to do. Thanks for tuning in. Still trying to grow the channel. So, for everybody that comments, likes the video, share the video, sharing really helps out. So, there's anything that's ever said in it, if you just send it to somebody, send it to your other phone or email or something. If you share this video, I think that really helps out. It shows YouTube that somebody was interested in the content. Now, I want to piggyback off of a video that I did when I was talking about dating single mothers. And there was a comment made, I believe, by Bradley Bryant, a subscriber to my channel. I believe they subscribe because they comment from time to time. So I believe they subscribe. And they asked me to do a part two on dating single mothers, particularly when it relates to children and so on and so forth. So this is the part two to that. If you watch social media, particularly YouTube and Facebook, you're going to hear men say, do not date single mothers. They're going to say they are the worst. They're going to tell horror stories from now till the cows come home about their experiences with single mothers. Now, let me say briefly at the beginning of this video, if you are in this channel right here, normally the demographic is people between my age, which is 48 years old, and maybe a 10 or 15 year span all the way around. So we could go 15 years back, mid 30s, or 15 years up into the lower 60s. That's the demographics of the people that watch my channel. So I'm not necessarily talking to men or women who are in their 20s. My logic for how you should move or date would be different if I'm speaking to a 20-year-old versus if I'm speaking to somebody that's in their 40s and 50s. Everybody understand that. The content that I make and most people content is going to be relatable to the people that is in their age demographic. Again, I'm in my 40s. I'm at the top end of my 40s. Most women who are in their 40s have children. That's what I want to make clear. So if you in your 20s, and again I'm saying most women, I didn't say all women, most women. So yeah, you will get one out of 500 women that say, "Hey, Professor X, I don't have any children." I understand that. The majority of women, I would say 85% of women who are in their 40s and up have at least one child. Now most of them may be married, I don't know. But if they're single, that's still gonna apply. They have a child from marriage or because they've been divorced. They have two children from two different marriages and now they're divorced, or they had a child that they had before they got married. Now, of course, that child may be older because we're in our 40s. That child may be 13, 14, maybe some of them even in their 20s, they be grown. But the majority of women in my age demographic has at least one child. So if you're 20 years old, ain't no point in jumping on this channel and making a crazy comment about the women that's out here that don't have no children. I'm focused on my demographic. They're gonna have children. So if you are a man in my demographic and you are interested in dating women, if you ain't into women, this ain't for you. If you ain't into women, this channel ain't really for you. Though I welcome you can get what you can get out of it. I'm for man like a woman, woman like a man. That's what I'm for. That's gonna be that's what my content is meant. Now if you can glean something from that, then glean from it. This is for men who want a woman that is in my demographic. They're going to have children. And on social media, they're gonna say, don't date a woman with children. Well, then in essence, that don't make sense because you're not gonna find a woman in our age demographic that don't have a child. Are y'all following me? If you take the road that says I would date no woman with children, then you are limiting yourself to one out of maybe 500 potential women who don't have a child. And even then, she may not be a good woman. She just may not have children. So the majority of women, good or bad, will have a child. And from that pool, you have to choose from. So let's go ahead and work this. What is the difficulty and why are men saying do not date women with children? And ladies, this is what I want you to understand what I'm about to say. Just because a man dates you, just because a man is interested in you, ladies, I want you to understand something right here. Listen to Professor X. Understand this. Does not mean he is ready to be obligated to be a father to your child. That's why men are saying don't do it. That's one of the reasons why. There's about two major reasons. The first one is he does not want to feel obligated to be the father to that child just because you all are dating. And a lot of times, single women, if they're telling the truth, they're looking for a man to be some type of, they want, because, maybe the baby daddy is no good, and maybe the ex-husband, y'all don't get along, and maybe y'all don't talk, maybe he's passed away, maybe he's not even in the country, not even in the state, he don't come around all that much, and so you raising little Tommy, little Leroy, and you want a strong father figure to be in his life, and you're interested in starting to date a great man that you see fatherly qualities in him, more than likely he already has a child or two or three himself. So you've been able to sit back and kind of watch how he move, how he navigate, and you say, I want a man like that for my child, for little Leroy. And then you start dating this guy and he feels the pressure to be something that he does not want to be. And ladies, that's what I want to tell you. He does not have to be obligated to have to be the father to your child. And women will say all the time, well, I'm a complete package. Well, we understand that you will have a child. So we don't have a problem with the fact we know that you have a child. We know that when we go places, the child, depending on the age, whatever, may or may not be there. Right? If they have age, they may not go everywhere you go. If they're younger, and I would say be careful. The younger they are at our age, I would say be a little more careful. But assuming they have regular age, maybe they could stay home, babysit or whatever, he should not have to be obligated to be the father to that child. Women, I want y'all to understand that. There is a difference between respecting your child and having to be a father figure or father type to your child. And that is one of the reasons, one of two reasons why men are trying to stay away. They do not want to feel obligated to raise another man's child. Well, Professor X, what's the second reason? It goes along with the first one. The reason they don't want to feel obligated is because a lot of times children that belong to another man do not show the proper respect to the stepfather or the boyfriend that that stepfather or the boyfriend properly deserves. More than likely, when you go to date when you get a divorce or you leave the baby daddy, whatever, okay, he might, let's just assume for the sake of this video, he wasn't the greatest because he's not around. Okay, he's not around. Maybe he's not active. Let's say he wasn't the greatest father type. You made a mistake. You wanted to get your little son. You got pregnant. You kept the child. Salute to you. And then now that relationship is over with, and you're looking to date. Well, that child is probably not going to respect the boyfriend because the child knows that's not my real father. So you're going to lose in terms of respect. And like I said on the previous video, a lot of women do not do their due diligence and make sure that the child moves in respect. So when a man is coming on the scene and trying to date this woman who's also a mother, her child can tend to be very disrespectful, but the man that she's dating, that's not the real father. And he can't treat the child like a grown man. So what ends up happening is the child can be as disrespectful as he wants to be. The mother to that child act like she's not aware or don't see what's going on. And the boyfriend is the one that has to take the hit because the child's being disrespectful and the mother is not doing anything about it. And he got to sit there and wonder, how did I get into a situation like this? And then when he get out of it, he tells everybody else on social media, don't waste your time, don't date a single mom. And this is the reason why. Because the children know that's not the real father. And we can be disrespectful. And there's nothing he can do about it. And if you try to do something about it, I'm going to tell my daddy. And the woman sits there with blinded eyes because that's her child. That's her blood child. So she may not even realize or see that the child is doing anything wrong. The discipline and the authority. Because I've run into that. See, as a parent, and I raised two kids being married or whatnot, I'm not going to say I was heavy on discipline, but you're going to be respectful. So I would be a disciplinarian if I needed to be. That's my expectation of myself as a father. I'm going to discipline my children. They're going to be respectful. That's just the way that I was raised. That's the way I raised my children. But if you're dating a woman who may not be into discipline, or even into paying attention that there is something that their child is doing that they should not be doing or saying that they should not be saying, then your little child is getting away with quote unquote murder, as we say. The man, he ain't gonna want to keep telling you, hey, check your child, check your child, check your child. Because again, women, you know how y'all are, y'all mama bear. So y'all gonna start taking that stuff more personal. And then it's where you act like you got something against my child. Your child lacks discipline. Your child don't have no respect. Your child say and do what they want to do and you let them do it. And that man is not used to that kind of lifestyle and behavior. So once again, when they get out of that relationship, they send the word back to the woods, to the forest, stay away from single mothers. So here's my reminder to you single ladies who may have children. Obviously, you have children and you may want to date. The man is not obligated to be the father to your child just because he is interested in you. He is not obligated. That is a conversation that must be had, and you must come to it with open ears to listen and to understand his point of view. Most men do not want to raise another man's child. They don't want to do the work to put in for another man's child to get out of it what they're going to get out of it. Most men don't. So you have to have a conversation. If that's what you're looking for up front. So I'm not going to tell you necessarily to change your value. I'm just telling you can't force that expectation on a man. If you're looking up front, because you have to ask yourself, do I want a lover and a partner in life? Or am I really just looking for a man to come along and be a parent to my child and help lift the load and carry some of this burden of parenthood? You have to be honest with yourself. And after you've been honest with yourself, you got to have a conversation with that man to see if he's on the same page out the get-go. I mean, I'm not saying on the first date or the second date, but when you realize that you real chummy with this man and you have high interest in him, it's time to have that conversation. Let him know up front, this is my expectation. I desire a father figure type for my son, for my daughter, and let him decide, but do not make him feel obligated to have to be a parent to a child that is not his when we already know you don't get no honor, hardly. Now, if the child was raised right, then it's a whole different story. If the child is respectful, it's a whole different story. But I have dated, in being divorced, I have dated two women who had children. Well, I've dated, they all had kids. And when I think about it, they all their children were disrespectful in a way that I knew I would not be able to live in this kind of circumstance if it had progressed further, let's say on an everyday basis. I knew it was not something that I could do. There's no way I could be a parent or father figure type to these unruly kids. And it wasn't because they were bad kids, it's just the level of understanding of respect and authority and discipline that they had was not what I was accustomed to. And unless that mother is willing to apply that, and that has to be applied really before you show up, or the kid's going to recognize the difference and say, mom's only doing this because he's in the picture, so the man becomes the bad guy. Unless that's the way it works, that ain't going to work. So hopefully this helps out. You're gonna have if you're gonna date, you're gonna have to probably date 85%. I'm gonna say women have children in my demographic. And ladies, if a man dates you, he is not obligated to be a father figure, parent type to your child. He's only obligated to respect your child. You got to love my child like you love me. It don't work that way. It don't work that way. If you find a man that's possible, he's able to do that, fine. But the majority of men, they're there for you and they will respect your children if your children respect them back. Y'all got it? Good. Bye.